believe that this happened, and it brought attention. Pro wrestling on every level, and that Michael Jackson I was talking about, it didn't happen on Impact Wrestling. It didn't happen on Ring of Honor. It didn't happen on WWE. It was at a local independent show out of Las Vegas. And that shit's making its rounds. You look at other things that, are going around pro wrestling. CEO, the video game tournament that hailed out of Daytona Beach, Florida this last weekend. And I follow both worlds. I compete in video games, so whatever. But the fact that a video game tournament, a fighting game tournament like CEO, had a New Japan card on their weekend, that drew major news. If you watch Twitch, broadcasting, the app Twitch, the top 3 pro wrestling shows for that day in which the CEO Cross New Japan show aired, that was number 1. A one-off show with New Japan talent was number 1 on Twitch, with Impact coming in second, and then my friends at Capital Wrestling coming in at third, which is really good for Capital, but I digress. People are watching pro wrestling. They see it on the headlines. They're curious. They want to watch. Is anybody curious about the UFC anymore? Unless Conor McGregor throws a dolly through a bus window and injures a couple of fighters. Do people casually know who the fighters are that got hurt and are in the midst of suing the UFC and Conor McGregor for it? Guess what? Conor, no matter what they try to sell you, Conor was there for a reason. Dana White probably had him go through the back, and they were going to do a whole thing and make headlines of like, hey, look, Conor McGregor, even though he lost to Floyd Mayweather, guess what he's doing now? He was trying to attack this guy who's, this guy, and they were going to make it like a work shoot. And Conor took it too far. That's why they're in the trouble that they're in, because Conor took it too far. And guess what? It got them attention. Any attention is good attention for a product that's suffering like the UFC. So for everybody, and while I get the other side of the coin, with Brock Lesnar coming in, WWE wins because they're, UFC is the biggest winner here though. WWE, who has in my opinion, a bigger audience, especially a big social media audience, they're promoting that one of their world champions is going on the UFC, and he's destined to fight Daniel Cormier. So they're already getting in the WWE fan who might be curious to watch Brock Lesnar fight in the UFC again. UFC's promoting that, and WWE gets a promotion too because he's a contracted WWE wrestler right now. And guess what? People are gonna be like, even if you're a hardcore MMA fan and you're just getting into it after Brock Lesnar had his first tenure with the UFC, his first consistent tenure with the UFC, I should say. They never saw him fight. Now they're going to be curious as to what else he does. So, everybody wins. Brock Lesnar certainly wins. His pocketbook definitely wins. Daniel Cormier's pocketbook definitely wins once this fight comes around. And all the suits at the UFC, their pockets are going to be very heavy very shortly. So, it's a win-win-win for everybody. Just because you're a wrestling fan that's hurt that he's doing this, and why isn't he wrestling, and why isn't he appearing? Well, you know what? As a lifelong wrestling fan, who cares? I'm saying it and while, again, I'll reiterate, I understand the other side of the coin, but for me as a fan, who cares? If you want to get that kind of attention for being a big name, this, that, and if you're a talent and doing this, figure out a way to make it happen. Figure out a way to make it happen. Alright, let me take a little bit of a quick break here, folks, and if you're listening in live, thank you so much, number one. Spreaker.com/filling_the_void. On your page here, if you're listening to me live, there is a chat option where you can chat your comments to me during the show. So while I take this quick little break, if you want to make your comments about anything I had said, if you want to throw in your own 2 cents about this situation with Brock Lesnar and the UFC, or anything of that like with this first part of the show, feel free to chat away. Or if you don't want to do it through the speaker, you could just tweet me at Kalypso426, and that's Kalypso with a K, Kalypso 426. So I'll be right back. In the meantime, enjoy a little bit of tunes. Hang in there. And welcome back to Open Mic Wrestling Night here on Fill in the Void Podcast Network by way of Spreaker. Thank you all for tuning in. And just to follow up on something with the Brock Lesnar thing, there is a story going around. I didn't get a chance to read it. I just found it as I was looking through things during that little bit of a music break, that Daniel Cormier had had conducted an interview and had apparently said something about why he cut a wrestling style promo. After the show is over and I have a little more time, yeah, you're damn right I'm going to be very interested in seeing what his reason is. Because, again, to everybody who's like, oh, it's cheesy, this, that, there's a reason for it. You know, these fighters aren't stupid either. You know, look at, again, I reiterated who's going to wrestling. They know what's selling right now. So, you know, there's someone that's paying attention to what works and what doesn't work, and that is in the fight game. So, you know, people, chill out here for a second, okay? So, let's put that behind us here for a second. And let's talk about, now I'm talking about this from a blind eye, so to speak. The G1 special that took place at the Cow Palace in San Francisco last night was another event that really took social media by storm. New Japan has been garnishing a lot of attention because of matches like Okada and Omega, and that Cody Rhodes is one of the bigger stars in that company right now, and the Bullet Club is a pop culture phenomenon. You know, hey, guess what? A non-WWE product is a pop culture thing. It's a great thing. All In's becoming a big attention grabber for pro wrestling as a whole, and everything else to the like. So let me start with something that kind of just came around, that at least to my attention recently. Hiromu Takahashi possibly suffers broken neck at G1 special in San Francisco. Big blow for New Japan, as to my knowledge, he's the junior heavyweight champion. This is from NoDQ.com. NJPW star Hiromu Takahashi possibly suffered a broken neck at last night's New Japan show in a match with Dragon Lee for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. And then Meltzer of F4W Online said, quote, Takahashi suffered a broken neck, apparently broken neck. That's the preliminary word that's coming around. He took a Phoenix Plex, but usually when Ibushi does it, he does it like bridges into a cradle, but Dragon Lee did it to Hiromu. Lee let go, and Hiromu landed on top of his head. They continued the match, did a Canadian Destroyer, won with a time bomb, but you could tell that was the plan. It's not like they cut anything short. You could see they went right to the finish, although they didn't rush to the finish. So he finished the match, retained the title, and I guess he must have collapsed backstage, took him to the hospital. And yeah, pretty bad news for New Japan. Takahashi, who also competed at the before mentioned CEO Cross New Japan show last weekend, he now has what's looking to be a broken neck, and that sucks for him. Obviously, with the longevity of his career. Kota Ibushi had suffered a neck injury as well, and he came back, and now he's doing pretty damn good. So you can only hope for the best for him and his recovery. But other than that, like I said, full disclosure, I did not watch the show. Apparently, the Jeff Cobb match was something to behold. And the main event, Cody versus Kenny Omega for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Another match of the year candidate, and another big event that happened at this weekend. And this is something I kind of wanted to talk about in light of, because I retweeted this on my Twitter. Juice Robinson, who people who don't watch New Japan and are fans of NXT would know him as CJ Parker. He won the IWGP United States Championship from Jay White, becoming the third champion, the third United States champion in company history, and is the first American-born wrestler to actually win the United States Championship. And you know, I mentioned the Twitter thing because he cut a very passionate promo after the fact, because, you know, you look at guys like Cody, you look at a bunch of guys out there in wrestling who are willingly leaving the WWE for one reason or another.